Anthony, it's great to see you. And I just wanted to underscore the importance of staying hydrated.
Being hydrated is very important, but what's more important
Yeah.
is I'll tell you after the introduction. What's more
All
important?
right.
I'm Anthony. Welcome to No Vacancy Live. That's my friend Glenn.
You're watching the #1 show in hospitality.
Hey everybody, welcome to No Vacancy Live. I'm Glenn Hausman. That's Anthony Melcuri. This show is a little pre-recorded. It's mostly live. It's a couple hours before it's airing. I'm at LendingCon in Orlando today. I'm excited, Anthony, because I'm getting to talk on stage to the amazing, incredible Chip Rogers today. Of course, the CEO and president of the American Hotel and Lodging Association, and Darren Soto, he's the local congressman here in Orlando, as well as our friend Raj Trivedi from TSC Capital, Nitin Shah of Embassy Bank, and Jan Guadam, who's putting together LendingCon. So that should be good.
Well, tell Chip I said hello, and I'm very nervous because we delivered him a rough cut of our new show, and as you know, he sponsored it. So yeah,
Yep.
I looked at my email to see if he responded, but anyway. So Glenn, a couple questions. One,
yes, sir.
You got dark. You got dark quick. You shut the lights off?
No, I didn't do anything. Let me move the computer back this way. I don't know. I don't know what's going on. I'm in a hotel here.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. You look very pretty. Number two, the most important thing is the Yankees stopped their losing streak at 9. I was on the way to the game. I haven't been to a Yankee game in 10 years. And my friend, who happens to be a police officer, he parks in front of the Yankee Stadium, which is really cool. And I made a prediction that he will have a multi-game home run day, and I knew it. I just knew it in my bones. And you know I'm psychedelic, right? I've told you that.
Well, psychic. I don't know about psychedelic. You haven't really been eating the acid all that much. No, but maybe one day.
Most people are psychic. I'm psychedelic. So I'm clairvoyant. I'm all those things. So I said he'll have a multi-game home run. I said 2. Right. I was thinking 3. He had 3 for the first time in his career. He had 3 home runs, and including those 3 home runs, a grand slam.
Woo!
And, it was amazing. I just thought the crowd would lose their minds, and they were clapping, but no curtain bow or anything like that. But it was amazing. First time he ever hit 3 home runs.
That doesn't make any sense to me. I mean, even I give myself a standing ovation if I get a grand slam at Denny's. You'd think that people get more excited about that.
Okay, I want to know how long before it came out of your mouth was it in your head?
Right after you said grand slam. I was just waiting for my opportunity.
I knew it was like 20 seconds. He was
don't worry. I got more dad jokes and groaners. We got plenty today because today we are going to have a great conversation, right? It's all about influence out there and trying to get people to help you market your hotel. So today we're going to be talking with Director of Sales and Marketing from the London House Chicago, Don Barnett, all about this particular issue on leveraging people to help you be more successful in your hotel. Let's welcome Don Barnett to the show. Don, it's so great to see you.
Thank you. Thank you for having me on. Appreciate the invitation. So good morning to you both.
Don Barnett, is this the Don Barnett that does voiceovers? Because he has a voice for voiceovers.
No, but you're giving me ideas.
Yeah, I would love to do voiceovers one day. That would be amazing. Where you just kind of, I want to be like Don Fontaine. Do you remember him? He was the guy that used to narrate all the movie trailers in a world, and he would just go from like place to place to place in a limo and make $1 gajillion a day, just like reading a paragraph.
You know, 7 degrees of separation. Kevin Bacon. 7 degrees of separation for Anthony Melcuri as well. How is Don Fontaine and I connected? Do you have any idea?
Leo Rossi's.
When we produced our movie, he did our voiceover. I was listening to it, and I was just like, is that Don Fontaine?
Right.
And he did our voiceover.
That's amazing. Well, rest in peace to the amazing Don Fontaine. Don Barnett. Let's talk about you and what's going over there. So how important today, as we're recording this in August of 2023, are influencers the overall health and vibrancy of your hotel?
In the market we're in downtown Chicago, plain and simple, they have the influence to the power to influence your purchasing decisions. You know, I nerd out over this stuff. So one of the things I read recently is it's around 30 to 35% of people trust ads that they see from a company, but 90% of people trust peer-to-peer recommendations.
Right.
And people
That's like my whole business model, Don. Yeah. Totally.
And people see influencers as peers. They're kind of these pseudo celebrities, but they're everyday Joes like you and me.
Yeah, but you know what? They're not pseudo celebrities; they are celebrities. And as a person that's been on TV for a long time, most influencers I know have a much bigger social media following and can drive revenue into businesses more than any celebrity I know that's on television outside of the A-list celebrities. And so it's we came to me to influencers and social media and the power of it kind of late to the game, where the kids, the 19, 18, 17, 20-year-old kids, were killing it for years, and we weren't paying attention. And we were like, who's Charlie? We don't know who Charlie is. Well, Charlie's worth more than Kim Kardashian. And if you don't know who Charlie is, either one of you, shame on you.
Yeah, I have no idea who Charlie is at all. And thank you for taking us out and flogging us on that.
Look at Mr. Beast.
No, what I'm saying is I'm included in that because I should have a much bigger social media presence. So, yeah, it is critically important. It's everything.
Yeah. Anthony, I feel like you've been actively antagonistic back in the day with the social media stuff. When we first started to get to know each other, you were like over that whole thing. But then you got into it much more recently.
It's not that it wasn't that I was over it. I never wanted to be in it. So I never got in it to be over it. I didn't want to be in it because as you know, my downtime and personal time is very important to me. And I don't want to be showing you the hamburger or the restaurant I'm in.
Yeah, anyway. I hear you about that, but we do want to see the restaurant at London House, Chicago. At least that's what you want people to be seeing through that third-party, unbiased advocacy, right? So how important, generally speaking, is this to your strategy, and how important do you think it is generally for a typical hotel that's out there?
Let me put it in context. Yeah. During the pandemic, when everything shut down, and hotels are cutting every expenses, people are being laid off and furloughed. One of the only things we kept going was our social media.
Wow.
It was worthwhile. We have we're the most followed hotel on Instagram in Chicago. And it was just really important to us to stay connected with our audience, even though we knew we weren't going to see them for a while. But it was really important to stay top of mind more than anything, and also communicate what was going on during that time frame. So social media is a big part of our strategy here. One of the unique things we do, and I think more hotels should do it, is every year our executive committee gets together and we come up with goals for the hotel, 5 goals. It's a community service project. It's, hitting your excellent score on QA. And for us, we always were incorporating Instagram. So back in 2017, when I started, we wanted to get to 10,000 and then 20,000. And then we said, hey, why can't we be the most followed? So it became an entire hotel effort to make sure we were reaching that goal with our social media. And we also recognize the importance, with an omnichannel approach, social media being one of it and influencer marketing. We've seen the real-time effects of it. We dedicate a certain amount of our social media to our food and beverage offerings, and our tea service we do in the afternoon is a perfect example of that marketing helping that just skyrocket. We do this afternoon tea from 1 to 4 every day in our lobby, and it started with a couple covers on a Saturday, and we would fine tune it. And of course our service and the team here and the food itself has a lot to do with it. But we'd also have those influencers come in and we'd post on it a couple times a week on our social media, and we'd do the paid ads. And and I say this with no ego, our tea service does more in revenue than other hotels' rooftops do in Chicago.
Holy cow. And we don't know how amazing rooftops do out there. That's really a fascinating way of looking at it, especially that you double down basically on keeping that social media going during those really dark days. Because it's so easy to just say, let's shut off that valve, and then you wind up being way farther behind, right? In the end. So you were able to keep a consistent conversation going with your audience, which I think is completely incredible. And by the way, I do love your Chicago accent. I keep feeling like you're going to be going to like that old Saturday Night Live skit, the Bears or something like that.
Yeah, the Bears. If you ever been to Chicago, you got to have an Italian sausage or an Italian beef.
Yeah, I'm just waiting for you to go. Oh, I'm just having a heart attack over here. So when you're thinking about this, how do you figure out what is the right approach to take? Obviously, food and beverage is great. This tea service is good. And all of you folks out there, think about what you have that you could leverage that's unique and different from everybody else, because not everyone has tea service, for example. So you found a point of differentiation, and then you had to figure out who to work with that would be appropriate for your hotel. So what is that process like, and what are the types of people that you want to have in to leverage their influence?
You know, I will say this. We're very fortunate because of the fact that we're a luxury lifestyle hotel. We're in a historic building. We have a lot of things going for us. We have a rooftop with a great view, that we have a lot of influencers that come to us. So we're very fortunate that way, that we're not, looking for a lot of paid opportunities. We have a lot that we can work with because they come to us. One of the first things I do is the eye test, I call it, where, somebody reaches out. Of course, you want to see what's their following look like, but, what is their engagement like? But my eye test is I'm looking at what is the content they're putting out, and does it represent our brand, and does it fall in line with our aesthetic as well? For example, we received a request from a couple that online they were doing a lot of skits. They had a tremendous following. Their engagement was fantastic, but 4 out of 5 of their skits were out of their apartment, and they were just trying to be funny. And it's like, that's not really us.
Right.
Despite having 200,000 followers, it's like, no, that's not for us. So you got to know when to say no as well, because it really wasn't on brand.
Yeah. And, I just wanted to add in everything that we're talking about, could you imagine a world 20 years ago where you have the power to have your own Hollywood studio, commercial studio, TV studio in your pocket, in your hotel, with ability to reach your core audience for basically free or very, very discounted? Whereas before, to reach this audience, you'd have to pay tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars to get to an audience that you were hoping you were a core audience. So we're really in an area where, someone like you, Don, that has that ability, and like you said, like you're like a kid in a candy store with this stuff, that really focuses it. It's really, really dangerous to your competitors, and really, really amazing for what you do. When I was running hotels, we did it through PR, but we didn't have this magnifying glass that we all have now. Glenn and I do it basically a talk show every day, and we wouldn't have that competitive edge if we weren't able to do this. And it's shocking to me how many of your competitors, period, people that don't leverage it. It's one thing for me to make a decision for my business, or for me to leverage it or not to leverage it. But if I'm running an establishment, it is my duty and obligation to take what is out there and this gift that's been given to us in technology and really leverage it.
You bring up 2 points I want to address. One is you brought up what the cost used to be for that. And if I could just share a quick golden nugget of wisdom with people watching, is look for those opportunities when you have a chance to work with an influencer. We've run across people that have maybe they have a small following, and maybe their engagement isn't that great, but they're a professional photographer, and photos and video cost a lot of money to have somebody come in and do that. And the things you want to put on social media, you want to look authentic and more raw anyway. So if you have an opportunity to work with somebody who's really a really excellent, creates user-generated content that's really excellent, jump at that opportunity. The other thing you said was about people that aren't leveraging it, and it breaks my brain. A lot of being in the downtown market, a lot more hotels, are on social media. But as you get out to like the suburbs and areas like that, for example, the O'Hare market, and again, because I'm such a dork for this stuff, I kind of see who's doing it and who's not. And out of say 20 hotels in that market, 3 are regularly taking advantage of social media, and the rest are non-existent. And it's a blue ocean, right? It's like just open seas to be the only voice in that market, and people are taking advantage of it.
And the fact of the matter is, if you're not out there in some way communicating either directly or through influencers, people won't even know you're there unless you happen to be on that very top of the first page search of Google, right? So this keeps you top of mind. And when people are thinking about making that decision, then they go to it. Anthony?
Our friend of the show, Joe Isidori, who's a Michelin star chef, he's basically launched his entire company based on social media. And when he started a company, a hamburger shake company, a long time ago, there was people lined up outside for days, weeks, and now I think he's in 11 countries. And he has the hottest Italian restaurant in New York City. It's really good Italian food. However, he was being able to leverage social media, so even Italian restaurants that could be as good as his, which, Joe, nobody's as good as you. But if they were, they wouldn't be able to do the numbers he does. Within 6 months, he had to extend his business. There's lines around the corner. I can't even get a restaurant a reservation sometimes, all through social media.
And that's even more impressive considering there's like 4 Italian restaurants in every block in all of New York City.
It's like, listen, when me and him spoke years ago, he wanted to open up a restaurant to honor his father called Arthur and Sons. And he happens to be a designer and graphic artist and a chef. And he just did an amazing job where it brought both together. But then he was able to get influencers to come in, some banging down his door to come in, and some that he kind of reached out to. And you can't get in. It's amazing, and it's all through his social influencing and his ability to do video content. He does amazing video content. And so if you're not leveraging it, nobody knows you're there, man. Nobody's watching, Channel 4 commercials. Nobody's watching, prime time. He gets more people on his social media than they get a Monday night, at 9:00 on CBS.
Yeah.
And, social media is the one thing of all the marketing options out there. If you have no marketing budget, you might be in a suburban Hampton Inn, where the only thing close by is a factory, and you have no marketing budget. The social media is the one thing you can do. And the power of it is that you can have this two-way conversation with your audience on top of it, which you can't do with a newspaper or a billboard or commercials or anything like that.
Right. So we've talked a little bit about working with certain types of influencers, but let's break down the influencers a little bit, because it's one of those things that's a catch-all phrase, but really you're looking to appeal towards specific audiences, and therefore you need to approach that influencer community in that way. Friend of the show, Emily Daly, she was on last year. She's since changed jobs, so I'm not going to mention where she's at, but she was talking about hyper-local influencers is a great way to go, as well as in your case, nationally focused influencers. So how do you break down the influencer puzzle in order to find the right pieces that fit for your property?
A lot of times it has to do with, how we're performing at the hotel, or if there's something in particular we're trying to drive more revenue for or drive awareness for. So we'll do for example, when rooftop season starts in May, we want to remind everybody that that's coming up, and, we might bring in somebody specifically for that. I keep going back to the tea service, but we change that menu every season. So next month we have an influencer coming in because we're rolling out our fall menu. She's going to take a ton of menus, or a ton of pictures rather.
Yep.
She's also bringing 3 model friends with her. That was part of the deal too. So that works out, but it's going to make for great content. And we specifically want to highlight the fact that, hey, the menu's new. If you've already been and had our summer menu, come back. Right. It's all about new customers, but also let's bring back the people who have already been here and try the new menu.
I hope it's just not all pumpkin spice focused. That would stress me out.
What is going on with pumpkin spice? Everybody's telling me, "Oh, I'm so over pumpkin spice." Did I miss the memo?
Yes, yes. Over the last 5 years or so, companies like a big coffee company that we know have really been doubling down on the pumpkin spice for fall, and it's been getting earlier and earlier. And 2 weeks ago, the pumpkin spice started coming back, and everybody likes to make fun of it because it's still summer. Let's have fun until after Labor Day, and then we can deal with our pumpkin spices.
Yeah. I was hearing something, and I was just like, everybody's like, "Oh, pumpkin spice is back," and I was like, "No, that's fall. It's like give me a Christmas present in August and tell me to get excited."
Yeah. So, Don, should we be paying some of these influencers? Do you do it in kind? How do you get them to appeal to come to your place and actually do your service? And how do you make sure you protect yourself from those fakers out there that really just want to shake you down for a free meal?
Yeah, it is a matter of doing your due diligence. Again, going through, looking at their engagement. There's a lot of tools out there where you can see, their legitimacy. Things like Social Blade, for example, where you can go in and plug in somebody's username, and then it'll give you kind of an analysis of what their deal is. It gives them a grade, actually, B-, A+, whatever the case. Shows you their engagement.
I gotta do that.
I know, I'm a little scared now. I know that. So that's I know that works on YouTube, but it works on other places as well throughout the whole ecosystem of social media
across the board. Yeah, our main focus when we're doing influencers is Instagram, but yeah, it works across a lot of different platforms.
Right, and I think that's important to know. Your focus on Instagram, where Anthony and I are different types of influencers, but I love LinkedIn because I'm all about being focused on business productivity. And the companies that I work with, are definitely aligning with me because they want that LinkedIn audience, right? So for you hoteliers out there, think about really what is that group of people that you want to come in and what are the sites that they are using, right? Maybe if you're opening up in your place a esports venue, then maybe you want to get Twitch influencers on there, right? So you got to really understand that. Don, am I making sense? Yeah, Anthony?
No, go ahead, Don. Answer that, please.
Yeah, no, that makes perfect sense. I think, you want to look at multiple channels, of course. If you're a hotel and you're on LinkedIn, you got to think about your target audience, and you're trying to reach out. You're trying to connect with those meeting planners and potential brides, business people that are business travel. So you have to cater your content towards that. And your Instagram is where people are going to be entertained, look for inspiration, things like that, ideas. One of the things I think that's going to continue to grow in this space is the option to purchase via social apps. Right now, I think the issue is trust when it comes to them, because you go on Instagram and you see an ad and you don't know if you can trust this company. Is it even a real company? What's the quality of the product? Things like that. And again, this is where influencers come in. They come in and then they attach that link, and you're getting something more legitimate.
There's an influencer that does food blogging. I won't tell you who he is, but he's a young guy. And at first I was like, oh, that's cool. He's kind of having fun, whatever. And now it's a business. And every restaurant he goes into that either pays him, now he's being paid a lot of money because he's like a really top food guy. One, I have to question, who's giving him the ability to be a critic? Like, where does he get to be a food critic? What's his background? He doesn't have a background in food. He's not a chef. Number two, he's everything's great. Everything's just the best sandwich, best pizza. This, oh my God, you got to come here. This is the best, the best, the best, the best. I stopped watching him. I stopped following him. And he's like, I think he's full of crap because he's getting paid a lot of money and his job is to keep people coming. But the good news is he has so many followers that it really doesn't matter what my opinion is because the guy's killing it. But I think he's full of crap. And I went to a couple of the places that he suggested just haphazardly, just because I either tried them before or I just happened to try them, and I didn't agree with him. Also, there's this bagel place in New York, which I won't say the name, but it is absolutely on fire with lines around the corner. And I happened to be on that block on a Sunday morning early, and I don't know how I got in, but I got in quickly. I had the bagel. It was a bagel. It was a bagel.
Yeah.
It was a good bagel. It wasn't a great bagel. It was a bagel.
But
to be fair, to be fair, Anthony, that bagel was still better than any non-New York bagel. So
yeah. Well, that's that's going without saying. That's like saying other Glens are better than you. You're the best Glen I know.
Hey, thank you so much. Of course, I'm the only one he knows. Don, you were going to say something.
Well, to your point, you went and you didn't agree with his assessment, but you went because you saw this guy. So it had the influence to send you there. So I guess good on that company for hiring him, because it got somebody like you to go in and try it. Probably.
Yeah, but it also irritated me. And I'll never go back because, like, I feel like they're fake. Like, if you go to a T in your hotel, you're going to get that service that you say you're going to get. You're going to get that experience you say you're going to get. If you're telling me this is the best bagel in the city, it better at least be in the top 3. So what you're selling and what you're having your influencers talk about is real. It's authentic. I don't like when things are mediocre and everybody's saying it's the best. And in today's day and age, mediocre is, could get away with being the best. And again, you get eyeballs there and you get people there, but is that really sustainable if it's not a great product?
Yeah, that's true.
So how do you identify what are the best elements for you to focus on in your hotel?
The hotel itself?
Yeah.
Well, we have one of the best locations in the city. We're on the corner of Michigan Avenue and Wacker. So our tagline is, it starts here. So we're at the beginning of the Mag Mile where all the shopping is. Mm-hmm. We start there on Michigan Avenue, but we're also at the start of the Cultural Mile south where the museums are and things like that. So we have this fantastic location. We're in a historic building that's celebrating its 100-year anniversary. It's the London Guarantee and Accident Building. The aesthetic of the hotel plays off that 1920s feeling, basically based on the history of the building. We were also the home of the London House Jazz Club. So there's a little bit of that influence throughout the hotel as well. We pride ourselves on being, for the last 2 or 3 years, we've been in the top 3 on TripAdvisor out of 220 hotels in the city. So we pride ourselves on our service. But a couple of those key things, we have it. I'm biased, of course, but I think we have the best rooftop in the city of Chicago. A lot of people, if they haven't stayed at the hotel, they've at least been to the rooftop. Sometimes we get people that forget that we're actually a hotel. It's not a rooftop. We're actually a hotel. So, and being in that former office building too, we have a unique footprint with all of the rooms. The rooms are pretty large, high ceilings, great views.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I want you to know I have been to London House Chicago before, and I got to be up on the roof, and the property is absolutely spectacular, and I love what you guys have done with it. How do you make sure that when you're dealing with influencers, like every single post isn't just a great thing of tea and a little finger sandwich, for example? I'm talking about keeping it fresh, keeping viewers of all of the content engaged, because you don't want to see the same thing over and over and over and over again, right?
Yeah. It's something you do on the front end. Once you've done your due diligence and you've vetted them, then you work out what those deliverables will be, whether it's going to be some static posts, stories, reels. And then, they want to ultimately, a lot of times they're looking to come stay overnight. And then as part of those deliverables, you let them know where you want to guide them. And again, like I said, we're looking at areas where we want to enhance. Maybe we want to show off our activation on the rooftop, or the tea service, or our cupola where we do a ton of proposals on the rooftop. So, for example, we had a a ballerina, a San Francisco, some famous ballerina. I'm not into ballerinas, so I don't know her name off the top of my head, but she came in. We specifically had her posing in the cupola and things like that. So yeah, that's an example.
Yeah,
that's pretty cool.
You know, it's where we all spend our time, right? If you count how many hours you watch TV and how many hours you do social media, social media is by far where we spend most of our time. And so it just makes sense that, you know, that you're in that position and really understand the power of what you're doing. And, you know, it used to be social media is on the fringe. It's like AI. People that say to me, well, AI, you know, that's not going to take off. And if it takes off, you know, it's not going to do. AI's taken over, and it's the end of the story. And you know, social media and all these platforms are taking over. And this is your your front page, your Instagram page. What is this?
This is the hotel. Website. This is the hotel gallery. Yeah.
Oh, okay, great. Look how gorgeous that is.
Yeah, I'm just trying to do a little slow scroll here. Yeah, it's beautifully.
And look at that building. Look at that building. Yeah. That building. Oh, I passed that building. I did a show not too far from that building. We got to do our next show at your hotel.
That'd be great.
Yeah.
I'd love to have
we have not gone to Chicago together, Anthony. That would be a whole lot.
Well, I think did Don just invite us to Chicago to stay for a night and enjoy your beautiful hotel?
Well, he's got to go check. He's got to check your Instagram feed and see if you have any engagement over there.
On Social Blade, what's a decent ranking? Not a great ranking, but it's like, hey, all right, that guy's got some following.
You know, if somebody has an engagement rate of around 3% or higher. That's actually
what's the ranking? Like there's A, B, C, D, and E. Like what's the
B? For us, I look for somebody that's in that A, B range. If they're anything less than a B, then we'll probably pass.
I'm a B.
All right.
Woo! Well, I strive to be a B. I'm more of a D grade influencer. I'm actually kind of like William H. Macy in The Cooler. If things are going too well, they bring me over to kind of slow it down.
No, I just checked that I'm B, so that's that really hurts my ego because now that you introduced that to me, I actually had a meeting yesterday, and I'm going to tell them, hey, we're B, we got to be A plus.
I love it. Don, give us a good plug for your hotel before we let you go.
Well, like I said, we're in the heart of the city. We're close to everything. We're close to the cultural type of things to do. We have 6 different food and beverage outlets in the building itself. We have a spa. And like I said, I'll take the Pepsi challenge with anybody. I think we have the best rooftop in the city, as well as some of the best rooms. But that's second to our service. We really pride ourselves on our service. I think the biggest difference between a good hotel and a great hotel is people who care. And we have that in spades.
Yeah, beautiful. And it's the difference between every business, right? And it's so hard. You know, people think that's easy. That's the hardest part. It's not easy to design a hotel and build a hotel, but it's almost impossible to get that spirit throughout the entire hotel. So congratulations.
Thank you.
Thanks, Don. We really appreciate you, and we really appreciate all of you watching. Now, next week, I'm going to be taking my kids back to college, so I'm forcing Anthony off the air for the week because I'm a little burnt out. I need a little R&R so we could be ready to go.
You look fresh. I was going to say that bed behind you looked like it got a lot of use because you look really, really refreshed. Did you sleep last night?
Dude, I like seriously, you taught me to like make sure all that stuff's cleaned up. I probably could have done it a little bit better because I see now that the sheet's hanging down, but I'll get my pretending the room has not been used look down soon enough. I promise.
But did you sleep well last night? Because you look like you have a lot of energy today.
I actually did sleep well last night. I didn't get to the hotel till, I don't know, 12:30 a.m. or something like that. And I slept like I was only up once between when I fell asleep at 1-ish and 7 this morning. And, you know, for those of you who have been following my issues, I'm usually up 3-4 times at that time. So that's.
Yeah, you know, there's millions and millions of people following glensissues.com.
I know. Hey, if you got issues, Come check out my issues. All right, everybody. I would love for you to check us out on our audio podcast feed. Find us on Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, SoundCloud, wherever you get your shows. We are there. And of course, if you're listening to us right now, why not give us a look? Watch us on either of our respective Facebook pages, LinkedIn pages at novacancynews.com, and on YouTube. He's at Anthony Hotels. I'm at Traveling Glenn. Thanks for being here, everybody. Remember, you've got one life, so blaze on and
be kind to yourself.
See y'all right after Labor Day. We'll be back. See you then. Bye.
Ross,